So what are crimes against the legislative power? California statute contains a number of crimes that are described as being against the legislative power. These are found in Article 3, sections 9050 to 9056 of the California Government Code. And basically, they are provisions of state statute to combat crimes against the legislature as well as the legislative process. So Section 9050 provides that every person who willfully and by force or fraud prevents the legislature or either of the houses or any of its members from meeting or organizing is guilty of a felony. Section 9051 provides that every person who willfully disturbs the legislature or either houses while it's in session or who commits any disorderly conduct in the immediate view and presence of either house that interrupts its proceedings is guilty of a misdemeanor. Section 9051.5 provides that bill or resolution also includes a constitutional amendment. Section 9052 of the Government Code provides that every person who fraudulently alters the draft of any bill or resolution, including constitutional amendment, which has been presented to either of the houses of the legislature for consideration with the intent to procure it to be passed or adopted in language that's different than that intended by the House is guilty of a felony. Section 9053 provides that every person who fraudulently alters the enrolled copy of any bill, resolution, or constitutional amendment that has been passed or adopted by the legislature is also guilty of a felony. In Section 9053.5, it says that every person who intentionally, maliciously, with knowledge of the falsity, and with intent to defame a particular legislator, publishes or causes to be published any writing that is purporting to be a facsimile of an actual legislative measure, which is not the exact copy of that measure, is then guilty of a misdemeanor. Note that this section does not apply to the print or electronic media or to news services. Section 9054 provides that every person who obtains or seeks to obtain money or other things of value from another person upon a pretense, claim, or representation that that individual can or will improperly influence the actions of any member of the legislature regarding a vote or any other legislative matter is guilty of a felony. Section 9055 provides that every member of the legislature who's convicted of any crime, in addition to whatever punishment they're subject to, will forfeit his or her office and is forever disqualified from holding any office in the state of California. Section 9056 provides that any person who secures through his or her influence the introduction of a bill, resolution, or constitutional amendment in the California legislature, and thereafter solicits or accepts from any other person any pay or other valuable consideration for preventing or attempting to prevent the enactment or adoption of that measure is guilty of a crime and is punishable by a fine not exceeding $10,000 or imprisonment in a county jail for not more than 1 year, or by both of those. As you can see, these code sections provide a number of significant criminal penalties for those persons who interfere with the legislature or the legislative process and its official proceedings. And naturally, individuals are prohibited from engaging in conduct that would in any way falsify legislative documents or create any sort of inaccurate materials upon which legislators will rely in debating and voting on legislation in the California state legislature.